Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about Meta Materials, also going with the ticker MMAT, previously known as TRCH on the American market. Now, and today I'm going to be giving updates towards news, technical analysis, what I think about this one, and some of the things that happened recently that I would like to explain, and as well as some analyst recommendations if we can find any. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So Meta Materials. I've done multiple videos on this one, so my last video is in the description below, but things have been really wild in the last month or so. So previously we were talking about TRCH and Meta Materials reverse merger and how TRCH are going to give preferred shares, and in those you're going to be getting dividends based on the sales of oil and gas sales. And from what we're talking about, we try to estimate these dividends, and we went anyway from around 10 cents per share all the way to 40, and I gave you really good coverage between each of them and how they were calculated, etc. in my previous videos. But today we're talking about Meta. What's happening, what's going on. Now, a quick thing I've heard about with a lot of people. Some people still didn't get their preferred shares, some people did. In terms of the people that didn't, I would suggest talking to your broker just to make sure that your broker does support that kind of stuff, and make sure that you've bought before the record date and held through as well, right? So that's something important. Now, at the current time being, a lot of people are saying, okay, if I sell now, am I not going to get the preferred shares? No, if you sell now, it's already way too late to kind of go into the calculation of the preferred shares. So right now, you basically are holding Meta Materials, and you're in for Meta Materials rather than TRCH. That's history. So some of the latest news that we have for Meta Materials. Meta completes UK funded project toward developing non-invasive glucose sensing systems. Now this one here, the project was supported with about £911,000 or around $1.25 million from Innovative UK, part of the UK Research and Innovation, a non-departmental public body funded by grant in aid from the UK government. And then other than that, that was around, I think, 27-month long project. Other than that, Meta to hold corporate update webcast that was back into July 6th. So I do hope that you actually were in there to understand a bit of what the updates were. And George Pelikris reports holdings in Meta Materials, so that's relating towards institutional buyers and insider reporting. So I'll go to that later on in the video. And Meta provides updates to shareholder and exchange process timing. And in this one here, also reported part of the SEC filings. They did talk that the AST informed us today that the required reconciliations and share transfer cannot be completed on or until July 2nd, Friday, 2021, due to administrative process or procedures during the proxy process in the offering circular communications. So when we're talking about this one, we're talking about, I believe, for going on from TRCH to Meta Materials shares rather than the preferred shares. The preferred shares, we don't have much information about it, but some people claim they've received it, some others say they haven't. So it's a really mixed mess right now. And also, wait to go on and check about that. If you have any questions, you can easily go towards investor relations, mark@metamaterial.com, and email them. And also your broker if they have received those shares and haven't transferred them to you yet. Sometimes you gotta nudge them on there. Now, on Meta Materials itself, if you were to look into the institutional buyers, on the 7th of July, Nova Scotia Innovation Corp has invested in around 6.6%, around 18.6 million shares. We're looking into State Street Corp that added 30% additional shares. Genos Wealth on the 8th of July liquidated their shares. The rest seems to be stable and nothing has changed from there. Now, before moving on forward, if you'd like to see more contents like this, make sure to subscribe on the bottom right corner, leave notifications on as well, and don't forget to drop a like to this video. Now, if you would like to chat a bit more, ask any bit more questions, totally free in the description below is our Discord. Now, Meta Materials. Some of the things in terms of fundamentals might not be updated. The current market cap is around $1.63 billion. But take a look into the price over sales. I'm not sure if this is accurate, but if it is, it's 16,000. Now, the SP 500 price over sales average is around 4. So, kind of gives you a mind on what's going on there. Now, this company here, in terms of revenues, etc., you can actually go ahead and check it on here into financials and financial filings, and we're able to go on their website and try to see their latest quarter. So Metamaterials themselves reported on March 31st, 2021. This is different than TRCH, this is Metamaterials, and you get to see that the non-current assets currently looking at closer towards 29 million. So that is as March 31st, 2021, which is a lot more than December 31st, 2020. Now, keep in mind, they did raise a lot of cash, and you get to see that that main difference is from raising cash and reducing some of the debts through offerings. Now, in terms of some of the revenues and gross profits, 3 months ending March 31st, 2020 shows you a revenue for around $756,000 compared to around $600,000 in 2020. Now, gross profits are sitting closer to around $755,000, almost no cost of goods, which might be a little bit weird for some people. In terms of expenses, here's where things get crazy a little. In terms of 2021, your net expenses, or net loss before taxes, I would say, is sitting at 55 million. Back in around 2020, March 31st, it's around 5.4 million. So it's definitely a company. Let's even ignore that 55 million. Consider it, okay, there's realized loss of FVT or FVTPL that might be circumstantial. So let's say it's around $5 million loss. It's still a lot in the company itself. And so that might not be really well for a company that is almost $2 billion or $1.63 billion, depending on the price of what it is reporting on that day. The market cap is in billions, almost $2 billion for a company that records $5 billion or $5 million in loss. So per quarter. So it's definitely something more of a bullet to bite on, but their technology is incredibly amazing, and I do like their technology, and it becomes an almost a harsh bet to take. Let's move on towards technical analysis and discuss this a bit more. Now, in relation towards the technical analysis, because they have a new ticker, my program here isn't very supportive to that. But you get to see that the MACD continuously keeping on going on negative in the last few days. And that itself is more of a negative trend, as you get to see here, the downtrend. It's almost like a downstairs. Now, every now and then, like for instance, on the 6th of July, expect a bit of a bounce, but all the moving averages are pinpointing downwards, and the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA. Now, in terms of the William %R, it's highly oversold. What does that mean? It means there's more selling than buying. And technically, at a perfect situation where you can meet an equilibrium, more buyers would come in, raising the stock price a little bit higher. Now, in terms of the stochastic fast and stochastic slow for this one, we don't have enough tabular information, but if we were to go into, let's say, a 2-hour perspective, it shows that there might be another leg up for this one, or at least a bounce into this level. But we also seen that back on the 2nd of July and back on the 7th of July. So more of what we can wish for is a bit of an accumulation as the after hours hit 253% positive. In terms of volumes have been reportedly higher on Friday, a bit more buying than usual, but still a very red day in general, going on from around 564 to 472, almost a whole dollar down. And the unbalanced volume shows you that on Friday, there was a lot more selling than buying. So I might have reversed this by mistake a second ago. I said more buying than selling, and that's actually incorrect. There's more volume in general, but there's more selling than buying, as you get to see the unbalanced volume is sitting around negative 21 million, compared to even the day before, which was around addition of volumes of around 5.7 million in the buying direction. So this time, or this point of time on Friday, seems that a lot of people are losing a bit of hope in that sense and starting to sell. In terms of the charts, let's start taking a look into some resistances. First resistance that we're actually getting to see is around the 501. Above there, you're looking into 541, and then going up to 581 to 588. That's a bit of a range there. 626, and then up to 672, going to 716, going up to 739, and then 793, going up to 842, 901, 973, and then going upwards to around 1024 and upwards to around 1189. Now, supports, I don't have the information, but from my recollection, there was one at 350 and then another at 250. And why am I saying these things? Because take a look into as well, July 16th, some of the expiring puts and calls. Some of them are actually, or a lot of them are actually at 250 at this point. It goes to $5, $7.50. and you get the idea. And so the 250 level would be very important, because if it does reach onto this one, it would still have a billion, or almost, I would say 1.63, it would have around 800 to 850 million market cap. Now, is that more understandable than the $1.63 billion? For a company that does in losses around $5 million per quarter, it does make sense. However, this one does have a massive amount of assets as a result of liquidating their debt, basically selling their shares to raise up money for debts, having a massive amount of cash, having really insane technology. People are not looking at sales, and they're looking at future potential. And if you're looking at future potential alone onto this one, it's hard to pinpoint a price, but it's definitely could be a lot higher from where we're at right now. If you're looking at fundamentals, it's painful a little, because then you start getting a little bit of a shaky feel about it and saying, hey, it might actually not be a good idea to hold on it. I'm talking about at least in this year. But if you're holding on for the next 10 years, sure, this is going to either be multiples from where it is right now, or probably really lower where it is right now. But I don't see it sticking at this level. So depending on what your faith is on this company, mention it down in the comments below. Now, in terms of the analyst ratings, we don't have any at this level. So for this, make sure to mention down what you think about it in this stock down in the comments below. Subscribe and leave your comments. Have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.